Ugly day for the NASDAQ. You see there a decline of nearly 2%. It is a big week for tech stocks, particularly cyclical techs like chips. That's what we want to watch because we have Nvidia and Marvell set to report this week. So, Bryn, you own Nvidia, as does Joe. I want you first, though, Bryn, to talk to me about what you're thinking going in and whether you're concerned for a stock that's down more than 40% year to date.
Yeah, well, so talking about technicals, the technicals don't look good on the stock right now going into earnings today. You have to remember, though, they already pre-announced. We all know gaming is close to 50%. I think it's around 46% of revenues. And then like autos and AR/VR are less than 10%. So it's going to be about gaming. I think data center second. But listen, this is going to be an opportunity if this stock sells off to be able to buy this company. I originally bought it back in 2018 when it had sold off because of crypto. But if you look at all of the different verticals they're in, they are secular growers. Gaming is a secular grower. Esports, all that stuff. This is all temporary. So if it sells off, we'll see what happens. I'm very, very likely to add to the position. I think it's a wonderful company. And Jensen Huang, you very rarely have a visionary CEO that's been there since the beginning, still being able to take advantage of that.
We know, though, from others that gaming is not exactly going gangbusters right now, Joe. I mean, if that's where you're putting your focus, watch out.
We know that from Nvidia. They've made that clear as well. So the entry price for me is one in which I got pretty lucky. On July 5th, the stock bottomed at 140. I bought it that day. Towards the end of the day, up at around 148. So I'm in at a good level. I have zero expectations in terms of them being positive for the stock, whether it's technically or fundamentally. And maybe that's the catalyst, is just that so many people realize the challenges that are ahead for Nvidia. I think you have to have semi-exposure. If you believe in Jimmy's fundamental thesis, I think you have to have semi-exposure. If you believe in what I'm telling you, where I think the market is now a buy-the-dip market. As
you sold Nvidia 2 weeks ago, though.
But I'm still overweight chips.
Why'd you sell Nvidia 2 weeks ago?
Simply because that multiple with that big of a whiff on a pre-announcement, I can't do it. I can't. That's a bad combination.
What do you own in its place?
I own Qualcomm. I own NXP.
Okay.
It's really that simple. That is a multiple. It's now 43 times this year's earnings, 32 times next year's earnings. In a vacuum, I tell you that's too expensive for a semiconductor company. But everybody has rightly said this is a special semiconductor company. It is until you get that big of a miss. And I know it's top line. We'll find out what the bottom line is this week. I can't put that combination of the multiple and that pre-announcement together and still own the stock.
You know who doesn't own Qualcomm anymore?
I know.
Your boy Weiss.
I know.
Weiss, why'd you sell Qualcomm and the SMH?
Well, I sold the SMH last week. I sold Qualcomm mostly on Friday, some before. The reason being it was a trade. And Qualcomm I thought was safe to trade because it was a cheap stock, still a cheap stock. But you can't ignore the news that's coming out around the world on cell phones. And while Qualcomm's not just a cell phone company, that is a big part of their business. And they came out in a quarter. Quarter was good, but their guidance was poor. And Jim feels he can ignore that. But here's what I'd say. Cell phones are down 25%. Xiaomi, Apple's holding up. Samsung's holding up. But overall, they're down. And people, when they're forced with the choice of, do I buy groceries? Do I fill my car with gas to get to work? Or do I buy a new cell phone that, by the way, only has a slightly better camera? Maybe. I think they're going to choose sustenance over luxury.
Jim, I was going to have Jim respond to you. It's amazing that you guys missed what just happened in this play. I think there's a storm outside. All the lights went out. And now they've come. As you were talking, the lights went out. I don't know if it was you, Weiss, or the rain.
That's my wrath.
But it was going to keep Jim from responding to you. But now the lights are back on. No one even knew, other than what I just told you happened. You want to respond?
Yeah. Now that we don't have to do this. Now that we don't have to do this by candlelight. Yes. Look. Steve, I think eloquently pointed out it's a trade, not an investment. I look at Qualcomm as a long-term investment, and yes, you can try to trade this thing. Okay. Qualcomm over the last few years has beaten the S&P 500. I expect that it will. My investment thesis is to hold it through these ups and downs and get that outperformance. Yes, by definition, you can try to trade these ups and downs and do better. But this is a high-quality company trading at just over 11 times earnings, diversifying its revenue stream. And to the question that Steve rightfully pointed out, hey, you're not comfortable with Nvidia's pre-announcement, but you're okay with where Qualcomm is. It's literally 1/4 of the multiple going for on a forward basis. It's literally 1/4 of that multiple. So I'm pretty comfortable with it.
Okay.